The Zephyrian High Command meeting chamber buzzed with the distinctive chittering sounds of alien laughter. General Vex Tar, his forearms gesticulating wildly, projected holographic images of human military units across the crystalline conference table. The assembled officers from a dozen different species watched with obvious amusement as footage played of human soldiers crawling through mud, carrying what appeared to be primitive projectile weapons. "Look at these pathetic creatures." General Vextar's voice carried the metallic undertone characteristic of his species. While our warriors wield plasma rifles capable of melting through starship hulls, these humans still rely on chemical propellants and metal slugs. Their so-called snipers are particularly amusing. Commander Zelix, a towering insectoid from the hive worlds, clicked her mandibles in what passed for laughter among her kind. "I've reviewed their combat doctrine extensively. These human snipers hide for hours, sometimes days, waiting for a single shot. Meanwhile, our automated targeting systems can eliminate hundreds of targets in seconds." The holographic display shifted to show human sniper training footage. Soldiers lay motionless in ghillie suits, covered in vegetation and dirt, their faces painted in camouflage patterns. The alien officers watched as these humans practiced breathing techniques, calculated wind speeds, and adjusted for atmospheric conditions using primitive mathematical formulas. "Barbaric," muttered Admiral Koroth, his reptilian features twisted in disgust. "They actually use their biological eyes to aim. No thermal imaging, no quantum targeting matrices, no predictive algorithms, just organic vision and manual calculations." General Vex Tar switched the display to show human sniper rifles. The weapons appeared crude and mechanical compared to the sleek energy weapons favored by the Galactic Coalition forces. These chemical-powered projectiles have limited range and require constant maintenance. Our intelligence suggests that human snipers must account for planetary rotation, gravitational variations, and atmospheric density manually. What primitive thinking! The room erupted in various forms of alien laughter. The crystalline delegates chimed like wind chimes, while the gaseous nebula representatives fluctuated their density in rhythmic patterns that indicated humor. Only one figure remained silent throughout the presentation. Captain Threshka, a veteran warrior from the militaristic Dominar Empire, studied the footage with calculating eyes. Her scarred face bore the marks of countless battles across the galaxy. While her colleagues mocked the human techniques, she noticed something others missed: the incredible precision displayed in the training videos, the absolute stillness these humans could maintain, and the deadly accuracy of their shots. "Perhaps we underestimate them," Threshka said quietly, her voice cutting through the laughter. General Vextar's forearms stopped moving, and his compound eyes focused on her. "Surely you jest, Captain. These humans have been part of the Galactic Coalition for barely 2 rotations. Their technology remains centuries behind ours." "Technology isn't everything," Threshka replied, her tone measured. "I've fought beings who relied too heavily on their advanced systems. Sometimes the simplest solutions prove most effective." Admiral Koroth hissed dismissively. "Captain Threshka, your caution is noted but unnecessary. Our invasion of the Outer Rim will proceed as planned. If these human colonies attempt resistance, our superior firepower will overwhelm them within hours." The meeting continued with detailed discussions of troop deployments, fleet movements, and anticipated resistance levels. The Coalition had decided that humanity's recent expansion into the Outer Rim violated several treaties, and a show of force was necessary to remind them of their place in the galactic hierarchy. "The humans have established 12 colonies across 6 star systems," General Vex Tar explained, highlighting the targeted worlds on the tactical display. "Our intelligence indicates minimal defensive capabilities. A few patrol ships, some ground-based defensive installations, and small garrisons of human soldiers." "What of their sniper units?" Captain Threshka inquired. The question drew more chittering laughter from the assembled officers. Commander Zelix's antenna twitched with amusement. "Our scans detected approximately 200 human soldiers designated as marksmen or snipers, across all 12 colonies. Against our invasion force of 50,000 troops equipped with the galaxy's most advanced weaponry, they represent no threat. General Vextar nodded agreement. These human snipers will be easily detected by our thermal imaging systems and eliminated by our automated defense grids long before they can bring their primitive weapons to bear. The invasion will serve as an excellent training exercise for our younger officers. The strategic briefing concluded with assignments being distributed among the various coalition species. The Zephyrians would provide air support with their advanced fighter craft. The Hive World forces would handle ground assault operations. The Dominar Empire would coordinate orbital bombardment, if necessary. Each species brought their technological specialties to create what appeared to be an overwhelming force. As the officers dispersed to prepare their units, Captain Threshka lingered in the meeting chamber, studying the human footage once more. Something about the absolute focus she observed in the human snipers troubled her. In her extensive military career, she had learned that the most dangerous enemies were often those who appeared weakest. 3 days later, the coalition invasion fleet assembled at the edge of the Kepler system, where human colonies had established mining and research operations. The armada consisted of 200 warships, representing the combined might of a dozen alien civilizations. Plasma cannons capable of cracking moons gleamed along their hulls, and their shields could deflect the energy output of small stars. Admiral Koroth commanded the flagship, a massive reptilian dreadnought bristling with weapons. As they approached the first human colony world of New Terra, his confidence remained absolute. "Begin preliminary bombardment of military installations," he ordered. "We'll soften their defenses before landing our troops." The bombardment commenced with devastating precision. Human defense platforms erupted in brilliant explosions as plasma beams found their targets. The small human fleet in orbit scattered, their ships clearly outmatched by the coalition forces. Within minutes, organized human resistance appeared to crumble. "Pathetic," Admiral Koroth muttered, watching the tactical display. "Begin landing operations. I want this concluded before the midday meal." Thousands of alien warriors descended toward the planet's surface in armored dropships. The Zephyrian assault craft moved with graceful precision, while the Hive World transport vessels resembled massive insects descending from space. Each dropship carried advanced soldiers equipped with the finest military technology the galaxy could provide. The first wave landed in the primary human settlement without encountering significant resistance. Coalition forces quickly secured the spaceport, government buildings, and major infrastructure. Human civilians had apparently evacuated deeper into the mountainous terrain that dominated much of the planet's surface. "Resistance appears minimal," reported Commander Zelix as her troops established a perimeter around the landing zone. No sign of organized military response. General Vextar coordinated the advance from his command ship in orbit. "Excellent. Deploy search and destroy teams to eliminate any remaining human military personnel." This operation proceeds exactly as predicted. The alien forces began their systematic sweep of the surrounding area, confident in their technological superiority. Their advanced sensors detected life signs scattered throughout the mountain ranges, and pursuit teams moved to engage. What they didn't realize was that 200 human snipers had spent the past 3 months preparing for exactly this scenario. Staff Sergeant Maria Santos lay perfectly still beneath a carefully constructed hide made from local vegetation and specially treated fabric that masked her thermal signature. Her rifle, a precision instrument crafted by human engineers, rested on a custom-built bipod that eliminated even the slightest vibration. Through her scope, she watched alien soldiers advancing through the valley below, their confidence evident in their casual formation and relaxed postures. Maria had been a sniper for 12 years, serving in conflicts across human space before volunteering for colonial defense. Her rifle was chambered for armor-piercing rounds, specifically designed to penetrate advanced alien battlesuits. The weapon appeared primitive compared to alien energy weapons, but human engineers had spent decades perfecting its capabilities. She regulated her breathing, slowing her heart rate as her instructors had taught her years ago. The aliens below moved in a predictable pattern, their advanced technology making them overconfident. They relied on sensors that could detect most threats. But human snipers had learned to become ghosts. 2 kilometers away, Corporal James Mitchell occupied a similar position, his rifle trained on a different section of the alien advance. Like Maria, he had prepared his position for weeks, creating multiple firing lanes and escape routes. His ghillie suit incorporated materials that confused alien sensors, making him effectively invisible to their detection systems. The human snipers represented something the aliens had failed to understand: the ultimate evolution of the hunter-predator relationship. While alien civilizations had developed beyond the need for individual hunting skills, humans had refined these abilities into an art form. Each sniper was a product of thousands of years of human evolution, enhanced by modern training techniques and precision equipment. Maria's scope crosshairs settled on an alien officer directing troop movements from an elevated position. The target appeared confident, even careless, as he gestured with multiple appendages while coordinating his unit's advance. She calculated range, wind speed, and the slight gravitational differences from Earth that affected her bullet's trajectory. Her finger found the trigger, and she began the slow, steady squeeze that would send death across the valley. Around her, hidden throughout the mountain ranges, nearly 200 other human snipers prepared to announce humanity's presence in this war. The first shot shattered the morning silence like thunder across the mountain valley. Commander Xylos, a Zephyrian officer coordinating the sweep operation, never heard the sound that killed him. The armor-piercing round penetrated his advanced battlesuit's chest plate and eliminated him instantly, his 4 arms dropping the tactical display he had been studying. Maria Santos worked the bolt on her rifle with practiced efficiency, chambering another round while her first target collapsed. Through her scope, too, she watched chaos erupting among the alien forces below. Soldiers who had been advancing confidently now scrambled for cover, their sensors frantically trying to locate the source of the attack. 2 seconds later, Corporal Mitchell's rifle spoke from his concealed position across the valley. An insectoid hive world warrior attempting to establish communications dropped as the high-velocity round found its mark. The aliens' advanced targeting systems swiveled desperately, searching for threats their sensors couldn't detect. Within 10 seconds, 17 alien officers and communications specialists across the entire operational area had been eliminated by human snipers. The carefully coordinated alien advance transformed into confusion as unit leaders disappeared and communication networks failed. Soldiers who had relied entirely on technological superiority found themselves blind and leaderless. "Contact! Contact!" screamed a reptilian sergeant into his communicator. "We're taking fire from unknown positions. Multiple casualties. Request immediate support." General Vextar's voice crackled through the communication channel from orbit. "Clarify your situation. Our sensors detect no hostile units in your area. Sir, we've lost 17 personnel in the past minute. Precision shots, all targeting command personnel. We cannot locate the shooters." The general's 4 arms manipulated multiple control interfaces simultaneously. "Impossible. Deploy thermal imaging and motion detectors. These humans cannot hide from our technology." Doff. What the aliens failed to understand was that human snipers had been preparing for this engagement for months. Each position had been carefully constructed using materials that absorbed heat and disrupted electromagnetic signatures. The ghillie suits incorporated advanced fibers that mimicked local vegetation while confusing alien sensors. Most importantly, the humans had learned to become part of the landscape itself. Sergeant First Class David Park lay motionless in his hide, a masterpiece of camouflage engineering built into a natural rock formation. His position provided views across 3 valleys where alien forces had established their search patterns. Through his scope, he observed their growing panic as more of their officers fell to invisible attackers. David had served as a sniper for 15 years, participating in conflicts that had taught him patience beyond ordinary human limits. He could remain motionless for days if necessary, becoming one with his environment while waiting for the perfect shot. His rifle was a custom-built instrument capable of engaging targets at distances exceeding 3 kilometers. An alien officer emerged from behind cover, attempting to rally his scattered troops. David's crosshairs found the target's center mass, and he began the breathing technique that preceded every shot. His heart rate dropped to barely 50 beats per minute as his body entered the focused state that marked elite snipers. The shot connected perfectly, and another alien commander fell. Around him, David could hear the distant reports of other human snipers engaging targets across the mountain range. The aliens' technological advantage was useless against enemies they couldn't find. "Sir, we're being systematically eliminated," reported Commander Zelix from her position near the landing zone. "Every time one of our officers attempts to coordinate a response, they're killed by long-range fire. Our soldiers are beginning to panic." Admiral Koroth studied the tactical display from his flagship in orbit. The neat formation indicators that had shown organized alien units were now scattered across the map like scattered beads. "Deploy atmospheric fighters. Use thermal imaging to locate these shooters and eliminate them." 6 Zephyrian fighter craft descended through the atmosphere, their advanced sensors scanning the mountainous terrain. The pilots were confident that their sophisticated detection equipment would easily locate the primitive human positions. They flew methodical search patterns, studying every thermal signature and electromagnetic emission. What they found was nothing. The human snipers had learned from previous encounters with alien technology. Their positions were thermally neutral, heated by the surrounding rocks to match ambient temperature. Their equipment incorporated materials that absorbed radar and other detection methods. Most remarkably, the snipers themselves had learned to control their body heat through breathing techniques and meditation practices. "Thermal scans negative," reported the lead fighter pilot. "No signatures matching human life forms in the target area." 2. "Impossible," Admiral Koroth snarled. "Expand the search pattern. These humans must be somewhere." Well, as the fighters continued their fruitless search, human snipers methodically eliminated more alien personnel on the ground. Each shot was carefully planned and precisely executed. The humans targeted communications equipment, officers, and specialists whose loss would maximize disruption to alien operations. Staff Sergeant Carlos Rodriguez occupied a position that allowed him to observe the main alien command post. Through his powerful scope, he watched enemy officers frantically attempting to coordinate their scattered forces. Their advanced technology had become a liability, as they couldn't comprehend an enemy that operated without electronic signatures. Carlos had grown up hunting in the mountains of his home colony. His father had taught him that successful hunting required becoming invisible to prey animals whose senses far exceeded human capabilities. Those lessons had translated perfectly to military sniping, where patience and invisibility meant survival. An alien general emerged from the command vehicle, his ornate uniform marking him as a high-value target. Carlos adjusted his scope for the extreme range, calculating the complex ballistics involved in sending a projectile across nearly 4 kilometers. The shot would require perfect technique and favorable atmospheric conditions. He waited 20 minutes for the wind to calm, then executed the most challenging shot of his career. The bullet traveled for almost 6 seconds before finding its target, eliminating the alien general who had been coordinating the entire ground operation. The death of their field commander sent shockwaves through the alien forces. Units that had been attempting to maintain formations scattered as junior officers realized they were being hunted by invisible predators. The technological superiority they had relied upon provided no protection against enemies who had mastered the art of becoming one with their environment. "Sir, we've lost General Korthak," Commander Zelix reported, her voice betraying stress uncommon among her species. "Long-range sniper fire. The shot came from impossible distance. Our remaining officers are requesting permission to withdraw to secure positions." Admiral Koroth's reptilian features contorted with rage and disbelief. "Withdraw? We have 50,000 troops armed with the galaxy's most advanced weapons, and you're requesting withdrawal because of a handful of primitives with chemical projectile weapons? Sir, they've eliminated 43 of our officers and specialists in the past hour. Our ground operations are paralyzed. We cannot locate or engage the shooters, despite deploying our most sophisticated detection systems." From her concealed position, Captain Threshka observed the unfolding disaster through her own tactical scope. Unlike her colleagues, she felt no surprise at the human effectiveness. Her experience had taught her that superior technology meant nothing against an enemy who refused to fight conventionally. "Admiral," Threshka's voice cut through the panicked communications. "Permission to deploy ground reconnaissance teams using traditional hunting methods." Quote, "Traditional methods." Admiral Koroth's voice carried disbelief. "Captain, we are a technologically advanced civilization. We do not resort to primitive tactics. Sir, our advanced methods have failed completely. These humans are fighting a type of warfare our technology cannot counter. We need soldiers who can think like hunters, not like computer operators." The suggestion was met with silence from the command frequency. The concept of abandoning technological advantages for primitive hunting techniques offended the fundamental beliefs of most Galactic Coalition species. They had evolved beyond such crude necessities. Meanwhile, human snipers continued their methodical elimination of alien personnel. Each death increased the panic among the remaining forces. Soldiers who had landed with absolute confidence now cowered behind inadequate cover, their advanced sensors providing no warning of incoming death. Master Sergeant Linda Foster had positioned herself to oversee one of the main valleys where alien forces were attempting to establish a defensive perimeter. Her 20-year career had included conflicts against enemies who possessed superior firepower, teaching her that victory often belonged to those who could remain invisible longest. Through her scope, she observed alien soldiers frantically digging defensive positions while their officers tried to establish some semblance of order. Their movements were predictable, driven by fear rather than tactical thinking. She selected targets systematically, prioritizing those whose elimination would create maximum disruption. Her first shot eliminated a communications specialist who was attempting to restore contact with orbital support. The second killed an officer, trying to organize his troops into effective firing positions. Each subsequent shot increased the chaos among the alien forces, transforming organized military units into scattered groups of frightened soldiers. The aliens' advanced battle suits provided excellent protection against energy weapons and explosive devices, but they had never been designed to stop high-velocity projectiles fired from extreme distances. Human engineering had specifically developed ammunition capable of penetrating advanced alien armor, turning their protective equipment into elaborate tombs. "Sir, we need immediate extraction," Commander Zelix transmitted desperately. "Our forces are combat ineffective. We've lost over 200 personnel to sniper fire, and our troops refuse to advance. Morale has collapsed completely." Admiral Koroth stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The neat unit markers that had represented an overwhelming invasion force now showed scattered groups hiding behind whatever cover they could find. His technologically superior military had been stopped by less than 200 humans armed with what appeared to be museum pieces. "Deploy orbital bombardment," he ordered finally. "If we cannot locate these snipers conventionally, we'll eliminate the entire area." "Sir," General Vextar's voice carried uncertainty, "orbital bombardment will also eliminate our own forces currently on the ground. Then order them to retreat to safe distance immediately. These humans have humiliated us long enough." As alien forces began their panicked withdrawal from the mountain ranges, human snipers maintained their pressure, eliminating rear-guard elements and preventing organized retreat formations. The invaders who had arrived expecting easy victory now fled in disorder, their technological superiority rendered meaningless by an enemy they couldn't see or understand. The withdrawal would leave behind equipment worth millions of credits and provide human defenders with intelligence about coalition capabilities. Most importantly, it would send a message throughout the galaxy that humanity would not be easily conquered, despite appearing primitively armed. High above in orbit, Admiral Koroth prepared to rain destruction upon the mountains below, unaware that his troubles with human snipers were only beginning. The time for mockery was about to end. The orbital bombardment began at precisely 1400 hours, transforming the mountain ranges into a hellscape of plasma fire and molten rock. Admiral Koroth watched with grim satisfaction as his dreadnought's main batteries carved deep craters into the terrain where human snipers had inflicted such devastating casualties on his ground forces. "Target all elevated positions," he commanded. These primitives may be skilled at hiding, but they cannot survive direct orbital fire. The bombardment continued for 2 hours, systematically destroying every conceivable sniper position across 3 mountain ranges. Plasma beams with the power of small suns scorched the landscape, turning solid rock into flowing lava. When the bombardment finally ceased, the mountains resembled the scarred surface of a dead moon. "Sir, thermal imaging shows no life signs in the bombardment zone," reported the weapons officer. "All human positions have been neutralized." Admiral Korath allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. His forces had been humiliated by primitive humans, but superior firepower had ultimately prevailed. "Excellent. Prepare landing zones for our reserve forces. We'll establish permanent bases on each colony world to prevent future incidents." What Admiral Korath didn't realize was that human snipers had abandoned their mountain positions 12 hours before the bombardment began. Colonial intelligence networks had intercepted alien communications discussing orbital fire support, providing advance warning that allowed the marksmen to relocate to secondary positions prepared specifically for such contingencies. The humans understood something that the technologically advanced coalition forces had forgotten. Survival often depended on mobility and adaptability, rather than superior equipment. While aliens relied on their advanced sensors and targeting systems, human snipers operated like ghosts, appearing where least expected and vanishing before retaliation could occur. Captain Sarah Chen crouched in her new hide, constructed within the ruins of an abandoned mining facility 30 kilometers from the original battleground. Her position overlooked the main supply route that coalition forces were using to transport equipment and personnel between their landing zones. The location provided excellent fields of fire while remaining invisible to orbital surveillance. Sarah had served as a sniper instructor before volunteering for colonial defense. Her students included many of the marksmen who had participated in the previous day's engagement. The tactical withdrawal to secondary positions had been practiced extensively during training exercises, allowing the human snipers to disappear completely while alien forces believed them destroyed. Through her scope, Sarah observed a convoy of alien supply vehicles moving along the valley floor below. The vehicles were heavily armored and escorted by infantry units, but their drivers had become overconfident following the orbital bombardment. They believed the sniper threat had been eliminated and had relaxed their security protocols accordingly. Sarah's target was not the convoy itself, but rather the communications relay station that had been established at the valley's midpoint. Destroying the relay would disrupt communications across the entire operational area, forcing alien units to operate independently without coordinated support. The shot was technically challenging, requiring her to account for the target's elevation, atmospheric conditions, and the fact that she would be firing at sophisticated electronic equipment rather than biological targets. Sarah had spent years perfecting such precision shots, learning to place bullets with surgical accuracy. Her rifle discharged with a sharp crack that echoed off the surrounding hills. The armor-piercing round penetrated the communications array's protective housing and detonated the sensitive electronics within. The relay station erupted in sparks and smoke as alien communications networks across the region went silent. 40 kilometers away, Gunnery Sergeant Mike Torres was implementing his own phase of the human counterattack. His target was a forward ammunition depot that coalition forces had established to support their expanded operations. The depot was heavily defended, but human intelligence had identified a critical vulnerability. The alien defensive systems were designed to detect and engage incoming projectiles, vehicles, and energy weapons. However, they were not programmed to recognize the threat posed by a single human marksman firing from extreme range. The depot's automated defenses remained inactive, as Mike's bullet crossed nearly 5 kilometers to strike a fuel storage container. The explosion was visible from orbit. Secondary detonations rippled through the ammunition stockpiles, creating a chain reaction that destroyed months of carefully accumulated supplies. The blast was so powerful that it registered on seismic monitoring equipment throughout the star system. "Sir, we're experiencing coordinated attacks across all operational areas," Commander Zelix reported frantically. "Communications are down, supply depots are being destroyed, and our transport convoys are under constant harassment. The human snipers weren't eliminated by the orbital bombardment. Admiral Korath's reptilian features darkened with rage. Impossible. We destroyed every possible hiding place in those mountains. How are they still operational? 1. Sir. It appears they relocated before the bombardment began. Our intelligence suggests they may have prepared multiple position networks across the entire colonial region. The revelation hit the Admiral like a physical blow. These primitive humans had not only survived his most devastating attack, but had anticipated it and prepared accordingly. Their tactical sophistication exceeded anything in coalition military doctrine. Deploy hunter-killer teams, he ordered desperately. Small units with the best tracking equipment we possess. Find these snipers and eliminate them. The hunter-killer teams consisted of the coalition's most elite soldiers equipped with the finest detection technology available. Each team included specialists from multiple species, combining their unique sensory capabilities with advanced scanning equipment. They moved carefully through the terrain, following every possible lead. What they found was nothing. Human snipers had learned from decades of conflicts against technologically superior enemies. Their training included advanced fieldcraft techniques that made them nearly undetectable. They moved like shadows through terrain they had studied for months, using knowledge of local conditions that no alien force could match. Sergeant First Class Rachel Martinez had positioned herself to observe one of the hunter-killer teams as they searched a valley where coalition intelligence believed snipers were hiding. Through her scope, she watched the aliens methodically scan every rock formation and vegetation cluster, their advanced sensors sweeping for any sign of human presence. The irony was that Rachel lay less than 800 meters from the search team, completely invisible to their sophisticated detection equipment. Her position was a masterpiece of concealment. Constructed using materials that confused alien sensors, while providing excellent fields of fire, she waited patiently as the aliens approached her general area. Their search pattern was thorough, but predictable, following standard military doctrine that assumed opponents would behave logically. What they couldn't comprehend was an enemy trained to think like a predator rather than a soldier. When the moment was perfect, Rachel fired a single shot that eliminated the team leader. Before the remaining aliens could react, she had moved to a secondary position 300 meters away. The hunter-killer team spent 4 hours searching for her original location, while she observed their futile efforts from complete concealment. This pattern repeated across the colonial region. Human snipers allowed alien search teams to approach, eliminated key personnel, then vanished like ghosts. The psychological impact on coalition forces was devastating. Soldiers who had begun the campaign with absolute confidence now questioned every shadow and movement. Sir, we've lost 12 hunter-killer teams in the past 6 hours, General Vextar reported, his forearms trembling with stress. The humans are systematically eliminating our most experienced trackers. Our troops are refusing to participate in search operations. Admiral Korath stared at his tactical display in disbelief. His overwhelming invasion force was being paralyzed by less than 200 humans, armed with primitive weapons. The technological superiority that formed the foundation of coalition military doctrine had proven completely inadequate against this type of warfare. What do our tactical analysts recommend? He asked finally. Sir, analysis suggests these humans have developed warfare techniques specifically designed to counter advanced technology. They operate without electronic signatures, move using natural concealment, and strike from distances that exceed our standard engagement ranges. Captain Threshka's voice cut through the discussion from her position aboard a secondary command vessel. Admiral, I request permission to attempt a different approach. Speak, Captain. Sir, these humans are hunters. They understand predator-prey relationships in ways our advanced civilizations have forgotten. To defeat them, we need to think like prey animals rather than technological warriors. The suggestion was met with stunned silence. The concept of abandoning technological advantages to adopt primitive survival strategies contradicted everything the coalition military represented. Captain Threshka, Are you suggesting we abandon our technological superiority to engage in primitive hunting contests with these humans? Sir, our technological superiority has been rendered meaningless. These humans have found ways to neutralize every advantage we possess. We need tactics they cannot anticipate or counter. Before Admiral Koroth could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the fleet. Human colonial ships had emerged from hyperspace at the system's edge, moving to engage the Coalition forces. The vessels were smaller and less advanced than Coalition warships, but they carried something that would change everything. Sir, the approaching human vessels are launching what appear to be boarding pods, reported the sensor officer. Trajectory indicates they're targeting our support ships. Admiral Koroth realized with growing horror that human tactics extended beyond planetary surface operations. If human soldiers could somehow board Coalition vessels, the technological advantages of advanced starships would become meaningless in close-quarters combat. All vessels, prepare for boarding actions. Deploy security teams, and seal all airlocks. What the Admiral didn't know was that the human boarding parties included snipers equipped with weapons specifically designed for shipboard operations. The confined spaces of starship corridors would become hunting grounds, where technological superiority meant nothing against enemies who could kill from the shadows. As the first human boarding pods made contact with Coalition hulls, the sound of cutting torches began echoing through the fleet's corridors. The hunters were coming aboard, and the mockery was about to end permanently. The galaxy would remember this day as the moment when humanity announced its arrival as a force that could not be ignored or underestimated. The precision, patience, and lethal skill of human snipers had transformed what should have been an easy conquest into a humiliating defeat that would reshape interstellar warfare forever. In their hidden positions throughout the colonial region, human marksmen continued their patient vigil, crosshairs tracking targets across distances that seemed impossible. The aliens had learned too late that sometimes the most primitive weapons, in the hands of those who understood their true potential, could defeat the most advanced technology in the galaxy. The age of human warfare had begun, and it would be fought on humanity's terms.